Hey, welcome into another Oklahoma's Own pod. This time a Tulsa version. Not a TU football update, but TU basketball. Coming to you live from Studio B, palatial Studio B, where everyone else is freaking out about the weather on the news side. I mean, it is crazy the amount of emails and preparation that goes into 10 to 12 inches of snow. And if you've lived here long enough, you know what this city is going to look like come Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So you don't need to take your television off of anything other than News on 6. Leave it right there, and they'll take you home. Website as well, newson6.com, all the social channels for all of your Snowmageddon updates. We are not here to talk about snow. We can if she wants, I don't know. We're here to talk about TU basketball because they get a big win over Memphis. It's the first time in, 6 tries, Ravin, that they get a win over Memphis, 2021, I believe, so right after the pandemic wrapped up. And I'll just say this, you were there. We've got some highlights for you. We're going to hear from Konkol. We're going to hear from Tylen, is that right?
Tylen Riley.
Who, by the way, chain and watch combo, absolutely perfect from him. And it felt like the right time to bust that out after a victory over Memphis. Hashtag just saying. I got to say that, to me, I thought this one was super important. Because you build up all that road momentum from 2 wins in a place at UAB that no one wins at. If you listen to the radio postgame show, Coach Konkol had mentioned like they win 88% of their games there. That was TU's first win in that building. It's a very difficult place to play against a team that plays a very difficult style. So you get 2 wins on the road. Now, Tulsa teams in the past, and I don't mean anything by this, which usually someone will take offense to this when you have to preface that by saying, but I have a feeling like Tulsa teams in the past would have had all that momentum on the road, and they would have come back home and they would have lost that game. And it would have squashed everything that they've built up. This TU team is different than those teams of the past, and now you have one of their bigger home wins that they've had in a while against an opponent that has been a pain in their backside for forever. A physical team that was playing their best basketball of the season, even though their overall record doesn't show. But Ravin, Tulsa got the job done and put the foot on the Memphis Tigers' throat at the end of that game with a giant run. How big was this one to you as someone that's probably seen more basketball than at least I have?
Well, 2 years ago was my first season covering them, and I was at that Memphis game 2 years ago here at home when they lost the buzzer to them. And I talked to the coaches a little bit after this one, and they said that they talked actually about that game. None of these players were even a part of that game 2 years ago, which is crazy to think about how much turnover goes into this basketball team every year. But they talked about how important this game would be and that Konkol would never beat, the Tigers. But in my opinion, I thought that it was such a big crowd, one that showed up, and that's what TU's been able to lean on most. Yes, they lost to South Florida a couple weeks ago, their first loss of the season at the Reynolds Center, but they leaned on that in the second half. I mean, Memphis, I think, turned the ball over 9 times out of their 15 total or 13 total. I can't remember exactly, but they turned it over 9 times in the second half. And I think that's what really was the difference maker in that flagrant foul by Ashton Hardaway whenever TU's down 1, and then Miles Barnstable hits those 2 free throws, and then that is where that momentum just shifted and hit Memphis in the face.
So a couple of things is what Tulsa has been able to accomplish so far. I brought this up to Coach Konkol during the press conference earlier this week, and you know how Coach is. Coach loves him some advanced stats, advanced metrics. That entire staff loves advanced metrics. In today's day and age in basketball, I greatly appreciate that. And I know probably some people are watching this, but like every staff does that. Yeah, but the head coach, some of them, you're telling me that Cal looks at as much advanced metrics as what Coach Konkol does? I don't think so. Nor does Rick Pitino. He has people for that. But I said, closing out the press conference, you realize you're number 4 in the country in offensive efficiency. Mm-hmm. And his response in typical Konkol fashion, which was, yeah, but have you seen where we are defensively? And I was trying to keep it just straight positive from that forward. And it was a really cool moment. But he recognized it. What have you seen out of them offensively that makes you feel like that they're different so far this year?
Well, you have to think about their three-point percentage. They're 9th in the country in three-pointers made.
Think about that, TU fans. Think about that. over the last several years. How many years in a row now have people been talking about this team's lack of ability shooting from the outside on a consistent basis?
And it's not just one guy. Yes, David Green has the green light. Miles Barnstable has the green light. But Ade Popoola, a guy that we didn't know was going to be a shooter coming into this and hasn't been for past schools, he has been a guy that's had the green light since the start of the season. Just those three guys right there are shooting 40% from the three. I mean,
and it's been big for him. It really has. I love how multifaceted that they are. You know, the other day before the Memphis game, you know, they shifted, like KJ Reed's bringing the ball up the floor a little bit more. Like the interchangeability with some of these guys that have really kind of leaned into this overall team concept on top of your consistent players that are incredible. What Green has flashed so far this year, what Barnstable's been able to do, I mean, those are the two consistent guys, but you're going on, what, like 3 games in a row now where you've heard Coach Konkol talk about this being a total team effort, and it's been little bits and pieces that have been really impactful in big moments.
Tylen Riley talked in postgame about how it all started in the summer, that this team just really, really likes each other. Like, last year, you thought that the camaraderie was there, but this team really likes to be around each other. They're constantly together after practice. They stayed when I went to the women's game Tuesday. They're prepping for Memphis. I get there to go live in the 6 o'clock. I get there a little early during their practice. They stayed, and Rice is waiting to come on the floor to play. And they stayed, and they're sitting in there just like hanging out and laughing on the court. They just look like they really like each other. And I think that's what's been the difference. There's no, like we said, the guy this year. It's whoever can make the shot when the time comes, and they're going to get that guy open.
Speaking of Tylen, here's a little bit from his post-game availability the other night against Memphis.
Tylen, what was the difference down the stretch when you pulled off that 26-2 run?
Really, like I said earlier, we just faced the adversity early season. We've been in that situation multiple times, and we just stayed disciplined down the stretch. And we stayed solid for 40 minutes, and we seen a crack in the door, so we just ran through it, blew the game up.
Ade hit that three, and then Memphis called timeout, and there was just a lot of excitement that happened. What was that like, and then to finish it off like that?
Just first off, having belief in your teammates. We all have the utmost belief in Ade. I think he had 4 fouls, and he hit that shot with 4 fouls. And that's just the confidence he has in himself, and he knows we have it in him. And, big-time players make big-time plays. That's all that was.
You mentioned confidence. Obviously, the coaches have confidence to have David and Ade out there with 4 fouls with 10 minutes to go in the game.
Yeah.
It just shows how defensively sound that you guys can be in those moments.
Yeah, for sure. Just being disciplined in practice, being defensive-oriented, coach staying honest about it. Early on, we wasn't a very good defensive team. We wasn't getting the stops we needed, and I feel like the 2 losses we had, it pointed out our flaws, and we just worked on them. We just started stacking days, and now the work's paying off. But we're not done. This is just a step in the right direction, and we're just going to keep building off for this.
Tylen, did you feel like when shots weren't falling, when things weren't going particularly well, did you feel like the best thing you did then was not let a 5-point deficit become 12 or 15? You know what I mean? You hung tight even when things weren't going well.
Yeah. Shoot, for myself, I mean, I don't think I shot it great, but you just got to find a way. And my teammates had the utmost belief in me, just how I believe in them, with everything in me. And sometimes that just carries your way. You don't drop your head. The belief in your teammates, it just keeps your spirit up. And that's what we got in us. And we just, all 5 of us, including, actually, all 15, the whole bench, we're all together. And it just uplifts your play. Because, you play great when the man to your left and the man to your right and the team on the bench, they all believe in you and they all want you to shoot that again.
So what about the energy in the building tonight? What was that like?
Great credit to the fans, for sure. They packed the gym out. They were loud. They were loud. At some point, I think MB hit a 3. Miles Barnstable, he hit a 3. I couldn't hear anything. It was like the gym was shaking, like I was in 2K or something. It was crazy. great energy from the fans and my teammates on the bench too, for sure.
Talk a little bit about the physical nature of the game. How physical was this? Would you compare it to the rest of the games? I mean, especially the first half. A lot of stuff going on between you two teams. Talk a little bit about that.
Really, I think it started with the summer preseason, because this was by far, I felt it the first day I got here. Everybody was physical. It's like we just prepared ourselves for these moments. And, when you stay prepared, you don't ever have to get ready. You stay ready.
And was this game more physical than most of the games you played this year, or is it, how would you compare it?
Oh, it was up there for sure. The American Conference is tough. There's no top dog. Everybody's beating everybody. But I would definitely put them up there for sure.
And talk about the challenges. Memphis is a pretty athletic, talented team. So talk a little bit about the challenges going against them.
Really just the prep from coach and everybody just being locked in. Because, when you locked in from practice and our game plan and our scout just makes the game a lot easier when you do your jobs and when everybody else is doing their jobs.
As the point guard of this team, seeing Tyler Behrend have, the offensive rebounding that he has in the second half that gave you guys those second chance points, how do you feel like he's grown since that summer?
A lot. I mean, he's been eating more. He's been taking this a lot seriously. I think he embraced his role this year. Very good player. Like I said, big-time players make big-time plays. And he was a very, very key factor in this game for sure.
See, I told you the chain and watch combination were on point the other night. You got to appreciate that.
They all come in with just chains. I mean, Terrence Ford, when he's on the bench, he's got a TF on too, just kind of like that. It's kind of cool.
I've always said that if I ever win the lottery, I don't think I can. First of all, I can't pull anything off. But if I ever do win the lottery, I don't want the giant chain. I want the three finger ring that just says pop. And I want it in big diamonds that just says pop, and I will wear that everywhere if I ever win the lottery or get a big NIL deal.
I would love to see that, actually.
Don't tempt me, Ravin. Don't tempt me, because I may get a fake one. You can buy fake ones.
What are they called now? They're it's kind of like what your daughter said the other day about a labubu. It's lafufu.
Lafufu, yeah, I know.
So whatever we want to call a fake jeweled 3-ring.
She'll call you out in a minute too if you don't get it right. Here's Penny from the other night, because I thought Penny had something that was interesting to say. We'll rehash that on the other side.
We just didn't finish the game. The 26-2 run is right. It's embarrassing. It's crazy. I mean, I know I said that before, but you got to give credit to Tulsa. They executed. Everybody wants to look at this league like it's a very weak league, and then we won last year. This isn't last year's team. It's a totally new team, and you got to give Tulsa some kind of credit. We're acting like Tulsa doesn't have a good team. They have a really good team, so give them credit instead of saying we're horrible. You can just say they're pretty good.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Penny basically saying, I know a lot of you were in postgame, so a lot of the questions there about them falling apart at the end of that game, 26-4? Is that what the run was? Questions of them, and I at least appreciate Penny. I don't know if he'll be there next year or not, but I appreciate the honesty where he's like, you got to sometimes not necessarily focus on us, but give credit to Tulsa over how they were able to essentially boa constrict the Tigers and strangle them out.
The wording that was used in the post game was the sky is falling in a way, and he brought up, hey, we played these quad 4 teams to start the season, but when you're playing guys like Purdue and you're going to Mississippi State, you look at the strength of schedule. I mean, Memphis had that. They are the reigning American Conference champions. They made they went to March Madness, so it's like you're going to have that schedule. The sky's not falling. That Tulsa just has a really good team this year.
Tulsa does have a good team. I don't know about the sky is falling part of it, because they're the one thing, though, that good programs that have the amount of budget that Memphis has, they find a level of consistency. And I don't know if there's just been enough consistency outside of the one championship year that they talked about. And Memphis fans were kind of up in their feels a little bit. I even had one come at me over a post that I made that was just like, to be 9-9 and spend over $20 million, probably not great. He did call me broke boy, which he is correct on. He was like, get it right, broke boy, it's $25 million. I did phrase it as above 20, so I guess 25 does technically account as above 20.
So is under 30 going to be your 25 as well?
I mean, I guess so. And I wasn't saying like they spent $25 million on the roster or $20 million on the roster. I said, like, budget perspective wise, they spend more than anyone in the American. Double what anyone in the American does. And for them to be setting 9-9 right now, coming off of the season that they had, not great. So I know that there are people in Memphis that aren't happy with him. I just wonder. I guess I'm saying I don't know what the future holds for Penny as head coach at Memphis moving forward.
No. I also want to talk about one guy for Tulsa, and that's Tyler Behrend. The way that he's...
Skinny?
Hey, Tylen Riley said in postgame he's eating a little bit more.
Well, yeah,
right
he
now.
has to. He lost weight. And the coaches, I think, listening to the postgame on the radio, the coaches got mad at him because he lost weight. He was like, I had to start eating more.
Yeah, he didn't see a whole lot of the floor last year. You know, we have that story that Scott File did last year on Tyler and the road that he took to come to be a Golden Hurricane. But this year, he started every game, and the thing that has been most, like, I think at the most recent game, he was perfect from the field. And then against Memphis, he had 4 offensive rebounds. Those were key offensive boards as well. In the first half, it gave them a quick 7-point swing, I believe. And then the second half, that's where he has his strengths, and I think that's what's going to help them moving forward.
There are a couple of plays. We'll hear from Eric Konkol in a bit. There are a few plays in the second half that stand out to you that really were the big difference makers. It is so crazy to think about. At one point in time, Memphis had the lead, but it felt like when I looked up in Tulsa at that point was like on a 16-something run. It's like, oh my gosh, this was a 62-61 game just a few minutes ago.
There was actually a Memphis reporter that said, you know, he Ashton Hardaway hits that 3 and then they're up 5. He goes down to add some more notes, he said, and then he looks up and all of a sudden TU's up 8.
Yeah, it felt like that.
It was just like that. And I think the thing that happened was Ade Popoola hit a 3, and Memphis calls timeout because they have all this momentum. Call that timeout. TU, Reynolds Center was just roaring. And Penny said it wasn't the biggest crowd he's ever seen, but it was a good turnout for Tulsa.
Yeah.
But that is what immediately sent it as soon as that happened.
Are there any off the top of your head?
I mentioned that flagrant foul. I mean, that when Miles Barnstable made those free throws, that's when TU regained the lead after leading 34-30 at half. They regained the lead at 63-62, I believe, is what the score was after those free throws. After that, I mean, it's that, and then what put the stamp on it was the Tylen Riley dunk. And then immediately after that, Romad Dean gets, a hustle play because they go into full court press. That's what Konkol likes to do whenever they have a make in a game like that when it's so high tense, so high pressured. Whenever Memphis is the guys that like to turn you over, he wants to turn them over. And so he got in the full court press. Romad Dean up at the top of the 1-2-2. He gets a deflection. Yeah, it's out on him, but he immediately flies into the bench, and then they're all going crazy. Like I said, they love each other. And then that's kind of where the offense sparked from that.
I love the mentality of this team, and I love the way over the last couple of weeks that they've closed out games. I mean, the Memphis one stands out for sure, but the UAB one was big for me as well. But they just got, I don't know, there's a little something extra about them that I really appreciate.
Well, and we talked a lot about the offense, but defensively, there was 2 starters that played with 10 minutes left in the game with 4 fouls.
Yeah.
Ade Popoola and David Green had 4 fouls with still a whole fourth of the game left.
Yeah.
And I asked Konkol in postgame about it, and he just said he has confidence.
Speaking of Konkol in postgame, you heard Ravin talk about the crowd. Eric had a lot of nice things to say about that. 500 beers. I'm disappointed he didn't respond to me on Twitter. I was trying to get a free beer. What's up with that, Coach? Well, I can't get a free brewski
Yeah,
over
and a
here.
little slice of pizza.
Little slice of pizza as well. But no, the student section did show up. They were very loud. They need more of that. The fans, yes, showed up no matter what a Memphis reporter said in the photos that he posted online on social media. They did show up after the national anthem was over, and that crowd was great. Here is Eric Konkol with that and much, much more from the victory over Memphis.
Well, this was really a total team effort, and when I say total team, it wasn't just the players on our floor. I mean, I thought our fans were sensational, our students back on campus. There was an energy in the building. This was a hard game against a really good team, and in those moments that we needed some help, I thought our fans really provided it, and then as that run continued there in the second half, in the last 7 minutes, just really. I mean, the place was booming, and how fun is that? College basketball, conference games in January, two good teams really going at each other. So I thought for our guys, you know, the number of keys, that we were able to take care of the basketball. We were able to make some plays on the glass. We had a lull in the beginning of the second half defensively that really allowed Memphis to take a lead, but in the last 17 possessions, I thought we defended the way we hoped to, and was able to, you know, kind of put a stamp on the game and get a really good win.
You've got a lot of confidence to have David Green and Ade Popoola out there with 10 minutes left, 4 fouls. Just defensive. They're obviously defensively sound to be able to be out there.
You know, those are the risks you take, and you know, I just felt like one for Ade. You know, I was trying to get him out of the game when he got his third, and then there was, and then he picked up one right away, and on a missed free throw that he shot, and so I had Romad at the table, and then I didn't want him to stay cold, like he was out forever, and I just felt like, okay, if I wait too much longer, he's just going to be, he's not going to be in any type of rhythm, and then David Green, like he just knew what the point in the game was. He knew where we needed to be, and he's a leader for us. We needed to get him on the floor, and I wasn't going to let him sit much longer.
And then Ade hits that 3 with 4 fouls, and Memphis calls that timeout. What about that momentum right there happened in that timeout?
Yeah, you know, we were able to string some stops together, and I thought Ade got some really nice deflections and to try to keep them off rhythm. You know, and then that 3, we were trying to do a little bit of matchup hunting and get a little action out of it, and he hit that 3, and it got loud in here. I mean, it was a big play, really good for extending that lead, and you know, just really proud of the guys because we fought some adversity here tonight, and we're able to find a way to get in the rhythm late.
It seemed like Romad had a pretty good stack of minutes tonight as well.
I thought Romad, his energy and activity in the first half was such a big lift. He had a couple nice cuts for baskets. Just hustle. He's got, like, there's energy that just, you know, just permeates through our team, just being around him. And then certainly when he plays, and then he made that big 3 in the second half too. We had a hard time scoring. I mean, Memphis is one of the top 25 defensive teams in the country. They hold people to 23% from 3. I mean, we knew it was going to be tough to score, and so every bucket was key. But I thought Romad's energy was terrific tonight.
So did you, when shots were not falling and you were making turnovers, but did you feel like the best thing you did during that stretch was not let that deficit go from 5 to 12 or 15 or 21?
So we only turned it over 8 times for the game, Bill, and that in itself is a major accomplishment. And we talked about, we just, you know, normally I'll say, hey, get great shots, get extra shots. It was just get good shots. And don't turn the basketball over. Like, we will sacrifice some of the fluidity of offense just based on how they pressure and how they take things away. It was more about, let's make sure we get a shot without turning the basketball over, especially live ball. But we had a hard time. We had a hard time getting clean looks. This is not uncommon against Memphis. Where I was direct with our guys was early in the second half. I didn't think we were defending with the type of intensity we needed to, and that's where we gave up the lead.
When you think of moments within a season and winning the crowd and everything like that, what does that spurt at the end of the game three-pointers, dunks, fast break, everything to bring excitement and momentum of the program as you head towards the second half.
Yeah, we talk about, I say to these guys a lot, like, hey, we want to create memories. Like, let's create a memory here. And, we talk about great enjoyment and fun and memories in their life. And, I hope, the fans, the students, our team, I know myself, like, we'll remember this. And Memphis is a really good team, historic, the champion of our league last year. But we want to keep building, and building for us is just stacking a good day. This will be over here in a few hours for us, like in our team. Like, we got Rice next, and we're going to focus on that tomorrow. But for our fans, what I really hope is that they'll tell a neighbor, they'll tell a coworker, they'll tell a family member, they'll tell somebody that they just met. Like, did you hear about Tulsa? Did you go to the game the other night? Man, you missed out on a good one. You need to make sure you're there for the next one. And let's just keep this thing going.
All right, that's Eric Konkol after the win over Memphis on Wednesday night. You might be asking, what are you holding? I just want to show you what a prop from the Lori Fulbright podcast looks like. Fulbright Files, right here. Here's the plant from Fulbright Files. Check it out right now. It's on YouTube. It's very well done.
Yeah.
This probably is the most famous thing that's actually in this room right now between the two of us, is this fake plant right now. Before we say goodbye, you had one keen observation that you think is really cool that involves the Tulsa basketball players.
I said that the team really loves each other, but not just that, they love the fans. I've noticed every home game, every player goes, like, and a lot of teams do this, they go around and they say thank you, they go and slap hands around the square, but this team stops and they talk to the fans that have been there for a while, the older folk, the young kids that are sitting there and, like, holding their posters up and wanting them to sign them. I have video of it, of every player that stops and signs, that sits and gives meaningful hugs to the fans. And I love that. And we've seen it too on the road. I mean, how many times has a broadcast showed the team going up and celebrating with the road fans as well?
I always say this, you never know what type of impact that you might have on a young person. And I've seen it with football. I've seen it now with basketball, as Ravin talked about. I'm super sports dork, so I still have all of those little things that got signed when I was a kid for elements like that. I still have them in a box at home, and every now and then I'll break those out and look at them just to kind of reminisce. But yeah, it helped kind of shape me as a sports fan. You just never know the impact that you will have, and also the conversations that you can have with people that have been going and rooting on that team for a very long time. That's a very cool thing that they do for basketball. At
the end of January, they are tied for second in the conference, and they were picked to finish below the second half. It's just like, here they are. Well, it was just this, Konkol said it, this conference is so up and down. Everybody's beating everybody. But when you're also a part of that category of beating everybody, I think that's something to talk about.
No doubt. Now they got to go on the road and get a win on a game that has been moved up from Sunday to Saturday versus Rice. So good luck to Tulsa.
49-point victory at home. It was the best shooting night in Golden Hurricane history from three-point range.
Hopefully they can get that taken care of, and then safe travels back in. That'll do it for us. Thank you for everyone for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. We might do a few more of these basketball podcasts as well, especially for a team that's 16-3 right now, hopefully 17-3 when they come back. And then next week, back into more of the schedule. For Ravin Ray, my name is Jeremie Poplin. For the Fulbright Files plant, we're going to say goodbye and see you next time here on Oklahoma Zone Sports.
Thank you for watching this Oklahoma Zone digital studio stream. Stay with News on 6 online and on television anytime for the latest news, weather, and sports.